Welcome to a new PYTHA tutorial in which we will learn how to edit the parts of a project. First, I load the small construction from the previous block tutorial. To do this, I open the File pull-down menu and click on the Open command. PYTHA offers numerous commands to change the position, size, and even the geometry of parts. All commands with which edit parts that have already been created are called tools in PYTHA. The tool menus in the icon bar have the hammer symbol. There are tools with which you can only edit individual elements such as the edges or faces of a part. And there are tools that always affect the entire part. The most important tools that are very often needed in the work process can be found in Part Tools 1 menu. You can call this menu either with this icon or with the Part Tools 1 button in the vertical menu. The basic workflow is identical for all tools. First, tell PYTHA what you want to do. To do this, start the corresponding command in the vertical menu. Then select the parts you want to edit. As this part selection is a very important step, let's take a closer look at it now. We will use the Delete command as an example. However, the options shown are also available identically for all other tools. Press the Delete button in the vertical menu. We can use this command to remove parts from our scene. The input prompt appears and asks which parts are to be deleted. You must now select the parts you want to remove. Click on the left block with the left mouse button. The part is highlighted in orange and got selected. Now press the middle mouse button to confirm the selection and exit selection mode. The selected part disappears. I undo the last step by clicking on the Undo icon. I then activate the Delete tool again. PYTHA again asks which parts I want to delete. This time I select several parts one after the other by left-clicking on them. If I click on one of the selected parts again with the left mouse button, it is removed from the selection. It then no longer lights up orange and will therefore not be edited. You can take as much time as you like for this process. Only when you press the middle mouse button does PYTHA end the selection mode and delete the selected parts. Again, I click on the Undo icon and start the Delete tool. When selecting parts, please make sure that your selection is clear. For example, if I want to select the right block, it is unfavorable to select it at this position. This is because there is both a part edge of the upper block and an edge of the right block at this point. The left click at this point is therefore not unique, and I cannot know which of the two blocks PYTHA is selecting. Therefore, always left click at a point where only the desired part is located. For example, here. By the way, if you press the right mouse button, you can cancel the part selection at any time and exit the active command. The part selection method just shown is particularly interesting if you want to select a few individual parts. However, if you want to select several parts at the same time, use a selection frame. Let's switch to the front view by clicking on the XZ button. I start the Delete command and use the mouse wheel to zoom the view a little smaller so that I can see all the parts clearly. The input prompt asks which parts are to be edited. Now, holding down the left mouse button, I draw a frame that encloses all parts of the project. As soon as I release the mouse button, all parts that are completely inside the frame light up orange. As before, pressing the middle mouse button confirms the selection and deletes the parts. I click Undo again and start the Delete command. I draw a frame again with the left mouse button. This time, however, it does not enclose all the parts. You can see that although the block on the right is cut by the frame, it is not completely inside the frame. As soon as I release the mouse button, only the parts that were completely inside the red frame light up orange. The block on the right is not selected. I cancel the command once again with the right mouse button and repeat the steps. This time, however, I draw a frame that only extends to the middle of my construction. In this case, only the left block is completely enclosed by the selection frame. Although the other parts are cut by the frame, they are not completely inside it. If I now release the mouse button, you can see that only the left block lights up orange. I cancel the command again and restart it. If I drag the selection frame from left to right as described above, only the parts that are completely inside the frame are selected. Accordingly, such a small frame does not select any parts. However, if I drag the same frame from right to left, all parts that are touched by the frame are selected. In this case, the upper and right blocks and the back wall. Did you notice that the frame I dragged from left to right was red, and the frame from right to left was blue? You can clearly see which type of selection frame you are currently dragging. Another very useful feature is the fact that you can change the view of the modeler during part selection. For example, I can zoom in on a detail or find hidden parts in a different view. It is also possible to combine the selection types. The selection, which is still orange here, comes from my selection frame. If I now click on the block with the left mouse button, it is removed from the selection. As already mentioned, you can take as much time as you like to select the parts. Only when you press the middle mouse button is the selection confirmed and the command executed. By the way, parts can also be deselected again with a frame selection. To do this, hold down the Control key on the keyboard and then drag the frame. The same logic applies here as for selecting. From right to left, all parts that have been cut are deselected. From left to right, all enclosed parts are deselected. In fact, there are numerous other tools for selecting parts quickly. For example, various selection filters are available in the vertical menu. Or parts can be selected based on their names or groups. However, these commands are particularly useful in complex scenes and will therefore be described in a later video. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoy testing the function shown.